Hey everybody, welcome back. I am going to be making another manipulated fabric heart. So if you're bored with that and you're not interested, that's fine. I understand. I can't remember without going back and looking, and I hate watching myself on video, so I do that enough if I have to edit. So I can't remember how much of the process I showed the first time. So I thought I would go a little more into detail. And if I do go back and look, I will figure out whether or not it's worth it to record this or not. However, I thought for now I would just start. So this is the heart size that I used on this manipulated heart or manipulated fabric heart that I did. This was my first one. And I think I want to go, because it's going in an 8-inch hoop, and this time I have pre-measured my fabric, so there's plenty of space on all sides. I think I'm going to go just a tad bit bigger. So all I did was fold these both in half, fold this paper in half, a larger piece of course, and I just laid this out and I just eyeballed it a little larger around. I think I want it to take up just a tiny bit more space. Now I've had the fabric in the hoop and I took it back out, and I'm going to center this and draw the heart on. My biggest thing is trying to get it straight. So there are threads in this fabric. This is a linen, I believe it's a cotton linen blend. I really love it, and I got it at Joann's a year or so ago, I think. May have been longer than that. I can't remember now. I can't find it in this white anymore. I may have to check the other Joann's. We have two in the area, and I'm going to have to check online, one or the other. But it does have lines in it, very visible textured lines. So I'm just going to try and line up with the threads and then open it up, and I'm going to use my pencil. I know I'm going to cover these, and the pencil makes a very thin line. It's just a mechanical pencil, as you can see. And I'm just going to lightly go around here, because my first step actually is to stitch the outline of the heart. And then after I draw this on, I'm going to show you some of the items that I searched for from my basement. Now, my basement is like, a hoarder basement of crafts that I have tried over the years. So I have a lot of fabric. I don't think I have as much as like someone who is an avid quilter. I don't have bolts of it sitting on my shelves. However, I mean, I have probably 4 bins, not the really deep ones, just the shallow ones, a couple of deep ones. But they don't have as much fabric in it. They have fabric divided by color, or like there's some fabric in there that is, use your words, Martha, batiks, or they have patterns on them, or they're specific colors. So I wanted to go with yellow. I just think yellow is a bright and cheery color. I'm kind of into that right now. So there's my heart. So I'm going to set this aside here with my hoop. I did wrap my inside hoop because I've not used this brand of hoop before. And I thought this was, when I felt the outside, I thought, ooh, that's so nice and smooth and polished. Well, the inside hoop was not so much. It had some really rough edges on it. I just wrapped it in 3 small strips of muslin. However, this fabric is very thick, textured. So I am, uh-oh, I think this is the right side of the fabric. Well, I can sort of see that through there. I'll have to redraw it. I think, oh my goodness gracious. I don't know if it matters. Well, I'll look at that later, more carefully. Oops. Oopsies. Oh my goodness me. So, what I wanted to show you are some of the things that I went and found in my basement. My mirroring is not working anymore, so I have to keep checking, and I'm sorry my chair makes noise. Okay, so this is some yarn that I made a long time ago. It's so soft and squishy. This is the other part of it. It's 2 colors, well, sort of 3 colors. There's an orangey, a pink, and a bright yellow. And so I rolled it into a ball from a skein, and I stopped it at the yellow part. Now the yellow does have a little bit of pink. That's what I used to sort of wind the yarn and make it a thick and thin. See, it goes from thick to thin and back again. I'm a poet, don't you know it? I also have this really crazy yarn. So what I did was found a yellow bit and cut it out. Yeah, I was into big, fat, chunky art yarn. And I don't really want the orange in there, so I'm cutting around it. But as you can see, I like color. I would never wear anything made out of this. But there are people who used to buy my yarn from me and actually knit clothing. And one lady actually used to sell the clothing. So anyway, I have some suede. I'm sorry if you're an animal lover. Before I became vegan, I did that for my health, not to save the animals, but now I do feel bad for the animals, of course. Something's on my finger. It feels weird. Anyway, sorry, squirrel. I will probably cut off something from here because it's yellowish enough. The back is really interesting texture as well, so who knows? It may end up backwards. I used to play the Native American flute, and we still have the flutes. I just haven't played in probably 3 years, maybe 4. So I used to use the strips of this and bead on it, and I used to cut these into strips to make fringe to hang off of the beaded flute wraps. Okay, so there's that. Why am I throwing that behind me? I have some silk scarves that I dyed and tried to put them together for a piece of clothing. It didn't work. However, I can cut the yellow out from this and use that. So I'm going to use that. I have some yellow lace, and I'm going to figure out how to incorporate that. I might stitch it at the bottom and make, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll be making some lace flowers out of that. Here, I'm using one of my Japanese rice bags. Yes, I think that was my first one I made. I love it. I'm using it for a project bag. So as I'm making the ruffles and such, I'm throwing this stuff into the project bag. So I took some of this fabric and I made a flower out of it, making sure I'm still on camera. Sorry. Either I need to be taller or I need to figure out another way to know what's going on camera. All right, so I have that. And here is the yarn from that big ball of yarn, and here's the other yarn. I'm going with shades of yellow. There's a little bit of gold in here. I'm trying not to get too on the gold side. I also have these sheep locks that I dyed myself. As you can see, I've been dyeing yarn. I also dyed these myself. So I've been dyeing yarn a long time, and dyeing stuff a long time. I may take some of these off. They lean a little more orange than yellow when you, or gold, really more gold. But I think if I use them sparingly enough, I think that would be really pretty hanging off of yeah, part of the heart. And then I just have my fabric strips. I have fabric. I have this twill that came, this was wrapped around a something. Probably something I either got in the mail. I don't think it was wrapped around fabric. It was wrapped around something I bought, maybe. Anyway, I have different fabrics here. And yes, there are colors in here, but when they're ruffled or when they are, you know, that's got white polka dots on it. And where'd the flower go? I lost the flower. There it is. I call these flowers. When it's ruffled, a lot of the color doesn't show through, but I also think it gives it interest, and it's all I've got. I don't have a lot of yellow. Okay, so I have the twill ribbon, I have the fabric. I plan on ruffling this too, I think. So I have all of those, and then I went downstairs, like I said, shopped my stash, and I have this yellow ribbon, which is quite bright. I have this paler, a little bit wider yellow ribbon. I have this with shiny in it, so I'm gonna be adding some sparkle. And this one is again a different shade of yellow. More on the gold side, deep yellow. I'm okay with that. Then I found this, and this came from Tuesday Morning. I can't even express how much I miss Tuesday Morning stores. I used to get all of my stuff there so inexpensively, and I just really, I mean, I'm actually sad when I think about how much I miss Tuesday Morning stores. I can't even explain to you how badly I miss them. I used to find so much good stuff there. And that's when I was making junk journals, but I'd always pick up stuff like this when I could find it. So all of this stuff is going into my project bag, and I will be hunkered down in front of the TV and this evening, and I will be making all of the ruffles, and then I will be putting it together. So you don't need to see me make ruffles, I don't think. Let me grab my stuff from behind me. I have to throw things on the corner of my bed because my area work table is quite small, and my bed is right behind me. So I thought real quick, I can't remember if I showed you this in the previous manipulated fabric heart project or not. Just have to slow down and use my words, but I like to fringe this as much as I can. So I cut it a little extra wide, and I'm going to, you stay over there so I don't lose you, please. I'm going to make this into a flower. So I think I demonstrated, but didn't actually make one. Wishing I had some really wide yellow ribbon because that would be pretty too. But checking one more time, making sure I'm in the zone here. Okay. So if I want the top where it's fringy to be the part of the flower, oh my goodness, I just stuffed all this stuff in the bag. And the flower I think is at the bottom. There it is. Okay, if I want the fringy part to be on the outside, like this one, then what I do is I start my needle very close, 1/4 inch or so from the what will be the inside of the flower. So that's the outside. And so 1/4 inch from the bottom, you know, 1/8 or 1/4 inch in, depending on how much your fabric frays. And then I just, I do stitch tiny little stitches, not, you know, minuscule tiny, like, you know, like a machine, but you want them, and I am using embroidery floss because when I tried to match a regular thread, it just didn't work very well. And then I put several stitches on, several gathers on at the same time. So there's a reason they call this slow stitching, although I don't know if this is really considered slow stitching, but okay. Okay, so you just keep stitching, keep gathering. It's actually easier if you manipulate the fabric as opposed to manipulating your needle. And there we go. I knew I wanted to make more of these hearts. And when I ran out of projects after the squishy bag and the, see, all you do is gather it really well and then put your 2 ends together. And then I just take a couple of stitches. You don't have to go all the way up. Try and make sure you catch both pieces, both ends of the fabric here. You can go all the way up. I usually don't have to. I usually just sort of get up there. Ah, ow! That hurt. It's the second time today. I've pinched it in the exact same place. Stabbed my finger. Okay. And then, and really once you smush the gathers together, this one's pretty wide, so I did go all the way to the top. Then I'll go back down. I shouldn't have overlapped there, but you really, when it gets mixed in with everything else, you won't really see that very well, or if at all. Come on. And what I'm trying to do is get the gaps to disappear. So in the center, so you sort of bring this around, bring this around. You don't want it so tight that it curls under like that or like that, you know, but kind of do that. And then what I do is I go underneath, I go on the wrong side of the fabric, and I sort of stitch the center together a little bit. Sort of go around, grab some of that fabric from one side, and then grab some of the fabric from the other side, and just, oopsies, just sort of pull it together. And that way, your center sort of has some structure. See? And then really you can fold sloppy stitching. But when I sew this down, I can just sew that over that part that shows, you know, the sloppy stitching part. I can sort of pleat that over and stitch it down. And I usually only stitch it down in this area here, or just outside of the center, because I don't want to flatten it too much, and I want it to sort of have that flower feel, like it's got dimension and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I do it. And I thought I would just show you that. So I will finish up the ruffling, I shall call it. You could probably do this on a sewing machine, but it's more fun by hand. And I'm going to finish that tonight. And then I will be back to put it together tomorrow, little bits on camera. So I hope you all have lots of crafting going on in your world and that you are in a good place. I'll be back. That's not the end of this video. So hang tight. In a blink of an eye, I'll be back for you. For me, it'll be overnight. Hi everyone, I'm back. This is a continuation of what I filmed yesterday. I did a lot of work last night. I overmade. I seem to do that. I'll never fit. Even if I were to fill this whole circle, I'm not sure I could fit all of that on. So yes. Okay. I had to redraw my heart, so I made it a little bit bigger. And because I have so much stuff to put in it, and hopefully now I can fill it all, but I wanted to leave room to put some other stitches in here. I really like the French knots and the bullion knots that I did on my previous piece. So I may expand on that and do other stitches. I may not. We'll see. Now I'm going to have to keep checking the camera again and making sure I'm in frame. I'm going to try and keep it right here, but I'll be lifting it up and moving it and so forth. I thought about not doing it in the frame to see how that goes, but I'm going to start it in the frame. This fabric is a lot bigger, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep it flat and somehow mount it on something else. Again, I really love the frayed edges on it and everything, and I love this linen. We'll see. So I was playing around this morning trying to find, you know, placement and stuff like that. So I will sort of go along that line, but now the heart is a different size, and oh, I know what I was going to do first. Now on my previous one, which was my first one, I outlined in stitches. However, I played with this morning, and I cut off enough of this yarn, more than enough, to actually fit around the outline of the heart. So I am seriously considering doing that. as I sit here and contemplating why I wrap this in pink, I have no idea, except that I know, I mean, the other part of this yarn has, you know, fluorescent pink in it. So I wish I had not done it in pink. I wish I'd done it in white or something like that. But anyway, yeah, pink it is. And there are going to be other colors in here, so it's okay. I like it that way. However, do I just go ahead and couch that down, you think? Oh, I wish I was doing this as a live, honestly. Get everybody's opinions. Of course, you end up doing what you want to do anyway, but sometimes it's nice to have other people's opinions. Is that too much? Should I just like save it and put some around the edge like this? in a spot. Oh, Martha. I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide. And get my yellows out. Get the lellos out. Lello, lello, lello. They call me Mellow Yellow. That's right. This one's more orange. I don't want to go that orange with it, so I'm not going to use that one. And I have a lot of others here that I will add in as I'm doing my thing. Oh, I'm really confused. I don't know why I feel like I'm being pushed in this direction. I just don't know that that's really going to show off the heart shape like I want it to. Oh my goodness gracious me. All right. Putting all the things up there. I have a feeling this might be a two-parter. And I have a feeling I need to use a different needle. Of course you do. Of course you do. This was the small needle I used to gather all of the goodies there. But, oopsies. Try, that one's not very long. I might need a longer one. Yes, I fiddle. I know. I apologize. It is what it is. It's how I am. Should have prepared better. I know. That's not the one with the weird point. No. Oops. Helps if you cut the end of your thread. Yay. This is a very subtle, variegated thread. It's just going to go from light dark to light dark. Light yellow to dark yellow to light yellow. La 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 la. Boy, is it long enough, Martha? Oh, not a big enough knot. I'll probably cut this video in and out as it takes me longer to do things. Like I probably shoulda done this prior, but I'll do a few stitches and then we'll cut away and I can finish it. And let's see, trying to remember how to do this stitch first. Yeah, my pencil line is oh so faint, and last time I sort of went off the pencil line and one side was a little flat over here, and I'm trying to avoid that mistake again. So let me know if you think I should have put that thick and thin yarn around the outer edge. Would you have done that? You gotta follow the line, Martha. Don't go all haywire and weird on yourself. This being a new day, from the beginning part of this video, it is now Thursday. It's very hot here. I'm in the USA on the East Coast in Virginia, and it's very, very warm. It's in the 90s. I did not check the temperature right before I came on. I meant to. What is going on here? Let go. You can't have it. Please don't do this to me. I don't know where I went wrong. Where did I go wrong? There. My husband's watching a video that I can... I sent him a video, a TikTok video, on his emails. So when he came home, I told him to check his emails, and I can hear her now. It's Jimmy Fallon and what's his name? A comedian, and they're on a roller coaster, and I can hear the comedian screaming. Oh, I wish I could remember his name. Oh my. Anyway, I can hear it in the other room. So anyhow, yeah, so it's Thursday. I started this video on a Wednesday. I can't see my line. Sorry, I have to move it away from the light a little bit to see the faint pencil mark. Make sure I'm going around the curve in the right way. So I do believe this is called the chain stitch. Sorry, gotta move it again. Just have to get around this curve, because this is where I went flat on my previous one. Oh my gosh. I really need to darken that line just a teeny bit. There. And I know the stitches will cover it up. So, easier than fighting with it, right? So I knew Tony was going to, well, let me start at the beginning. Woke up at it was a few minutes to 5 o'clock. And when I wake up that early, I just get up. Like, it's not worth it to go back to sleep, because then I get up and I'm all foggy brained. I'm doing that thing I do. I start out really tiny and I get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I gotta rein it back here. So I got up and I was watching videos, and I watched Christine, and she had a video of a haul that she got off of Facebook Marketplace. And I thought, you know, I never see that stuff advertised around here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's a good reason for that, Martha, because you don't go to Facebook Marketplace and look. I don't, because I'm trying to rein in spending money. I don't want to be spending a lot of money on supplies. I have a lot. And my goal is to use what I've got. I mean, you hear me hear me talk about shopping my stash all the time. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Right? So I couldn't help myself. I don't like that little, what are you and why are you there? There, that's better. The light really on this white fabric really makes the pencil disappear. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I know I'm tipping it away from you. And this needle is really too big for this. So I go on Facebook and I find Marketplace, right? Because you have to click on it to find things on there. Oh. I typed in fabric. And what pops up? A post from someone who is not that nearby, like an hour's drive away. However, the hour's drive away is I know I'm tipping it up again. I apologize. It's probably making some of you crazy, and I really do apologize. I got to change this needle. And I made this heart really huge. So I'm a little scared now. I'm not going to have enough for the inside, but we'll work on it. This one might be better. I think I can maneuver this around better. That other needle was way too long for what I'm doing. Oh, the adventures of Martha. Well, Tony was going out to see our horse Blue today. We, or he, go out once a week and check on him, make sure everything's okay, make sure he hasn't hurt himself. Usually if he hurts himself, the barn owner and the worker person will contact us. Well, the barn owner does. The worker person tells the barn owner. Gotta pull it away again, sorry. And so we go out. Well, when it's really hot, I can't go out. I have a heart condition. I've always been ultra sensitive to the heat and the light, ever since I was a kid. And I just hibernate in the house in summer. It's really bad. I don't like it, but it's about all I can do. Or we go from the air-conditioned house to an air-conditioned car to air-conditioned store or whatever. But when it's above 90, I can't do it. And poor Tony ends up having to go out to get, do all this stuff outside. Well, the town, I guess it is, that the horse is at is somewhat close to this other small, I don't know if it's a town or a city. I don't know what it's considered. I think it's still considered a town. Population maybe is what does that. I'm not sure. However, I really fought with myself like for over an hour of whether to ask him if he would go out of his way to go get this Facebook Marketplace box of stuff. I didn't want to ask him because it's hot. He was supposed to go out and come right back, go out, spend some time with Blue. He gives him apples and carrots and treats and brushes him and sometimes gives him a bath. And we're talking to a full-size horse here. And he, talks to him, pets him, lets him graze around. And so that's what he was supposed to go do. But in the end, right before he left, I asked him, I said, would you mind? And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I understand. But since you're sort of going in that direction anyway, would you be okay going by and getting this box of stuff? It's only $10. And he said, did you talk to the lady? Does she still have it? How does she want to do this? Blah, blah, blah. So I said, no, because I didn't want to ask her before I asked you if you would be willing to do it. He's like, yeah, I'll go do it, but find out if it's still there, find out, how she wants to do this. Of course, I didn't have a $10 bill on me. I had a 20 and a 1, and he didn't have any on him. Because you use a card for everything nowadays, right? A bank card. In fact, there's stores saying they don't even want cash sometimes. Some places just take cards. So I try to keep cash on me, but I'd been using it for small purchases, like when we went to the yard sale, community yard sale a couple months ago and got some stuff. I'm untwisting my yarn, my thread, just so in case you're wondering why now is she picking it up and moving it away. So to make a short story longer, because I need to have things to talk about. Otherwise, it's pretty boring here because I stay in the house all the time. I texted her and she answered me right away. I mean, not everybody is right next to their phone or their Facebook or their computer or whatever. Even if they put something on Marketplace, that doesn't mean they're going to answer you right away. Sometimes it can be days before somebody will get back to you. Untwisting my thread again. So I was shocked. And I really believe in signs from the universe. So I'm like, woohoo. And I told her my husband would come by and pick it up this morning if it was still available. And you know, would she take cash? Because we don't do Venmo, and I just don't, I know nothing about any of that stuff. And I gotta find my point. Sorry. I'm actually going to go down and come back up here so it looks like a point and start again. And remember that long piece of thread I had when I started? It's amazing how much thread you use. Okay. And she said, yeah, I'll leave it on that. See, this is why I don't like a hoop. Now I'm fighting with the hoop because I made the heart really big. All right, I have to redraw this line because it's driving me crazy when my hand is over here and it's tilted a certain way. I cannot see. All right. And as you can see, you can't see that line underneath these stitches. So that's why this stitch is good for this as well. And I said, is cash okay? Yep. Very little conversation from her. She said, I'll put it outside on the porch and just leave the money under the mat. Okay. So I've only done this one other time. Bought something off of Facebook Marketplace, and it was the tab punch from We Are Memory Keepers, I think, or no. What's the other place? The tab punch that's no longer being made and everybody in junk journaling wants one. Yeah, I did that. I found that for like $5. I think it was somewhere. Anyway, so I've only done this one other time. Old lady issues, you know? Old lady, got to get with the show here and get with the times, but I'm just not used to doing it. So she said it was from a pet-free, smoke-free home. And I always have to worry a little bit because I don't do well when I pick up scented stuff from thrift shops. Oh, this thread. Thrift shops, or, you know, things are coming over here, trying to take the place over here. And so, and I was a little nervous that this might, you know, either be scented from laundry detergent, fabric softener. I don't know whose house this is coming from, right? So I try not to think about that. I'm like, everything's falling into place. It's meant to be. So I tell Tony that, you know, she answered me back. She's putting it on the porch. She'll take cash. So he said, well, I have to stop by the store first, buy something. He said, I'll go in and find something to buy. And I'll use my debit card and tell the machine I want extra money. I want cash back. I said, okay. I said, I can give you the $20 bill I have, and you can go to the bank drive-through and get them to, you know, break it for you. He's like, no, I'll just go to the store. Okay, you do it your way. You're the one going. Well, then he says, how am I going to know where it is? And I looked at him, I said, I don't know. Because I'm usually the navigator. And we call it a navigator because it's always a guess, even when you're following, you know, Google Maps or GPS or whatever. We don't have GPS in our car. Our car has everything. Like, it has every little bell and whistle. It has the sensors to tell you if you're not putting on your brakes fast enough. It has heated seats. It has, you know, all this stuff. It's just a Ford. It's nothing fancy. It's not a Lexus or a BMW or anything, but it has everything in it. However, it does not have Google Maps or any other GPS on it, which is really weird. I thought all cars came with that, but again, old lady issues. So that's the one I'm using, right? So I said, well, you'll just have to take the iPad. Now, Tony is less technically literate than I am. I'm checking again to make sure I'm on screen. I am missing that mirroring app that I was using because I never had to worry about it. I only had to look over at my phone right over there and see if I was on screen. But ever since I did the update on my phone, that's when that app started kicking me out after 10 minutes. I figured that out. Whoops. I deleted the app. Somebody's on the Apple App Store said that it wasn't a safe app anyway. So I don't know about these things. Like I said, I'm terrible at technology. Didn't used to be. I used to be right up there with everybody else and be able to keep up with stuff and all that, but not so much anymore. Okay, on with the story. Meanwhile, he goes and gets his phone. He's got an Android. He's like, does my phone have Google Maps? I said, probably. Now, he still has, I mean, his phone's old. I mean, really old. So, it's like 6 generations ago old. And I keep telling him he should take my phone. Of course, that would mean I'd have to get a new Apple phone. Oh, darn. But they're so expensive. Anyway, I would take, 2 generations. Mine's a 10. And they're up to 14 now. So I would take, something below a 14 but above a 10. So he may think about it. Anyway, and his screen is only like this big. I mean, it's seriously old phone. Android phone. And I don't know anything about Androids. So he went and got his phone and he found Google Maps and he put the address in. So it started telling him how to get there. So he said, tell her I'll be there in about an hour. So I wrote to her and said, he'll be there in about an hour, hour and a half, because I wasn't sure he'd get lost or whatever. But he's really bad about listening to the map voice. Like when we're driving, he's always like, what did it say? And I'm the person who reads the map and tells him how fast a turn is coming up, and because he doesn't multitask well. He's a guy. Sorry, guys, if you're watching, but it's true. Most guys don't multitask well. Women are meant to because, they got to give birth and carry a kid around and still do everything else they normally do. So he let me know when he got there because he couldn't remember the address. I guess he hadn't put in the exact number address. He had put in the street. And so he calls me. He's like, what's the address? Now, mind you, I'm in the kitchen. I'm making tortillas. And I literally just stuck my hand in the bowl to knead the dough. Start, mushing the ingredients together and get it to work. Yeah, so I swipe with this hand and I'm like trying to wash the other hand, and he wanted me to find the message. I couldn't find the message. I'm like, oh God, I can't find it. I'm sorry. Hold on. And I eventually found it when I calmed down and stopped freaking out. Because I didn't know if he was like on a busy street or, pulled over. I didn't know. So I found the message, gave him the address, stayed on the phone with him till he got there. He went up, he put the money under the mat, he walked away with the box, and he was like, okay, I've got it. I said, make sure you bang on the box, because I don't want to bring a box home that has like bugs in it or anything. You never know. I mean, she had it on the porch for over an hour. So he did that. And then he went out to see Blue, and he gave Blue a bath. Now, you're not supposed to bathe the horse. You're not supposed to bathe the horse. Me and my lisp. When it's very, very hot out. But he put him in the shade. After he bathed him, he put him in the shade. He scraped them down with a rubber edge scraper. He toweled them off, and the wind is blowing. It's not a gale, but it's a little more than a slight breeze. And he said he dried off right away, and then he let him wander around, eat grass. Excuse me, sorry. And Blue was a happy camper to get cooled off by the water and walk around and eat some grass. And then Tony finished up and left. I gotta draw this line again, people. Sorry. Need to come up and around. I don't want it to look flat on the top. I sort of headed off in that direction a little bit, so I need to now curve it around. And this frame is getting in my way. I do not like hoops. I really don't. I may take it out of here because it is bigger than the last piece. Whose fault is that? Mine. I know. Sorry, concentrating. And so I was making the tortillas. I had already made, we had soaked chickpeas last night. I've been making hummus, and I don't use tahini in my hummus. I did it once and I didn't like it. I don't know if I need to figure something else out or what. But anyway, I like it without it. Untwisting my thread. But I use an Instant Pot, just the little 3-quart one. And we soak the chickpeas overnight, and then I cook them the next morning. And I popped those in the Instant Pot before Tony even left. But then they take about an hour and 20 minutes. They cook for an hour and then start a natural release for about 20 minutes. And then I release the rest of the pressure, take them out, pop them in a bowl, wash the pan out, and then, or the pot, the Instant Pot. And then I start the next thing. I had to make quinoa and lentils today. Quinoa only takes 2 minutes to cook, but 12 minutes for natural release, 10 to 12. And lentils take a little longer, and they do a quick release. But I did all that. My point is not matching. I'll just end it this way. So I had to do those 3 things in 3 separate batches. Then I decided to make flour tortillas because I hadn't had any in a while. See, it's a little flat up here again. Not crazy about that. Oh well. You can really tell on the back. That's the old heart that I drew. And you know I could not find that pattern? I did that yesterday morning. I can't find that piece of paper with that heart on it. So I cut a new one and made it a little too big. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. Oops. Yeah, so he had called me right in the middle of making the tortillas, but we worked it out. He found the place. So I'll do a little mini Facebook Marketplace haul at some point. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to put on, I love this. It's huge though. That's the other reason I made the heart bigger. Because I really want to use this, but it's huge. It's really ginormous. And then I wanted to use the little silk one I made in the middle of that. Now I thought about putting a button in here, but I'm not sure I have the right button. I just don't know. Wrong drawer. Buttons. I have these plastic buttons. I don't really want to use a plastic one though. Let's see what else I can dig up. Oop, 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 like that. I think I got these buttons when I went to the Minuteman Mall. I don't remember. Or this is a bag I had hanging around. No, I think this is a bag I had hanging around because that wasn't in there. That doesn't belong in there. I saw a little yellow one. Where'd it go? Oop, oop. Oh, perfect. Is that the same one? Yeah. Still think that's plastic though. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, look. I found a piece of yellow felt. I don't know what the heck that is. That's going in the trash because I can't use that. Okay. I have one more place to look. Bear with me. Boy. Oh, I also cut up a watermelon this morning. Ooh, look. Oh, we're gonna look in there too. I pulled out my little treasure chest for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 4. I found Sarah's video very interesting this morning. She explained a little further sort of the direction they're going. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. It's all shiny. It's like mother of pearl almost, but it's yellow. Oh yeah. I think that's the one. That's going back in the other box. These are going... There's this really pale one too. That one's the same, but it looks paler than the other one. Yep. Methinks that's the one. But there's also this jar. This is the jar I bought at that antique place that I see some yellow ones, but they're really ginormous. No, they're too big. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I'll use it on this because this isn't really about being old or vintagey. This is more about decoration, home decor. Okay, I'm gonna put those behind me. Oh, I also did 2 loads of laundry. I did a lot today. That's interesting, but I feel like it's dirty. I'm not sure how I would clean that. Anybody got any hints on how I would clean a button like this? I don't think that'll work in there. But it actually does. Look at that. It reflects the yellow. Oh, I just don't think that's the right one for today. That's the original one I had. You know what? I think I'm going to go with that one. All that. Okay. It's okay. Isn't that what it's about? Decisions? And they're the hardest. I totally agree with Rachel when she says that. They are definitely the hardest. All right. Let's see. Actually, I have that little piece there I can do it with. Uh-oh. We won't even go there. She's the Looney Tune girl. The Looney Tune girl. Yeah. Alrighty. I think I'm going to try and nail this down first. Now, the question is, do I want it up there? This is the hardest part of this whole, thing and then put a lot of stitches under there so they just sort of show? Or do I want that to be the center of this piece and then work around that? Decisions. Always so difficult. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start here because it's just so hard some days. I think I'm going to put it in the middle, and I am going to just sew this button on real quick right onto this piece. My cousin is looking for some gifts to give for Christmas. And so some of these things I'm making are going to probably be for her. Yeah, I think the center is pretty. So I'm going to just shoot for that. Boink. Just pop that right in the middle. I cannot take, I'm going to try this without the frame. This might be a mistake, but this is where I'm going with it. Okay. Oopsies. Yeah, I looked all over for the paper heart that I drew the one on the back from. And I throw like all of my little paper patterns I've been making. I've been throwing them in my bottom. I have a IKEA drawer unit next to me, and I throw them in the bottom drawer. I can't find that heart. I've taken the stuff out 3 times and looked for it. Then I couldn't find the hoop. I had the other hoop. I had my older hoop, but the new hoop I just bought, couldn't find it anywhere. And I had it last night. Yeah, it was one of those days. However, I got a lot accomplished today. Like I said, the 2 loads of wash. I cooked the chickpeas, the lentils, and the quinoa. I made flour tortillas. I cut up a watermelon. It's just one of those small, round, personal watermelons, you know, which I can't wait to have this afternoon because it's going to be nice and cold and it's sweet and it's fruit, so it's okay. And yeah, I had one of my tortillas for lunch. Yum, yum, yum. I put the last of the hummus on it. I put avocado, lettuce, tomatoes, some quinoa, and some lentils, just a little spoonful. And the tortilla wasn't any bigger than this heart. And I just put the lettuce on there and cut up some little grape tomatoes, and it was yummy. We're at 42 minutes, and I know, oh my gosh, I know I have the beginning of this video. So I'm going to cut this video off here. I will make a part 2, and I will be back, and I will show me attaching the rest of this. And if you are sick and tired of me doing these, then you don't have to come back. But I hope you do. I hope you will. All right, I didn't realize we were so far into this. Okay, I'll be back in part 2. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Love you all. Happy crafting. Bye.